Hi, my name is Todd Loader. I grew up just outside Toronto, Canada, a place called Scarborough. It's actually a borough of Toronto. I had a really good childhood, very active as a child, healthy. In high school, I took up running. I was on the track team, the weightlifting team. After high school, I continued to run and I got so good I ran several marathons. I ran the Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon, and the Toronto Marathon, and had really good finishing times, often finishing in the top 10. I still continued to lift weights, and I got into wilderness survival and wilderness survival training, and woodworking and cabinet making. So I was, as you can see, they're very active, very physical types of work and leisure. About the age of 30, I started to notice a lot of pain in my neck and my shoulders and in my back, and later on it got into my other joints, and the doctor diagnosed me with arthritis. Because it was in all of my joints, they started to give me anti-inflammatories and pain medications, and that was about the best that they could do for me at the time. Later on it progressed. I started to get deformities in my neck and in my fingers, as you can see, and in my toes. And a doctor finally diagnosed me with a disease called ankylosing spondylitis. And basically it's a severe form of arthritis in your spine. It got so bad that getting out of bed in the morning, my wife would have to help me, and she would dress me and put my socks on and comb my hair and do all those things. I was unable to work, and I just was not having the quality life that I was used to having in the past, being very active. I went from taking 200 Tylenol 4s a month to up to morphine, and for the pain, because the pain was so severe. You can imagine your spine is redesigning itself and reshaping itself, which affects your entire nervous system in your body. So, of course, I had bowel issues and every kind of problem you can imagine, and getting to the point of using a walker. I started to get into heavier drugs like morphine and was taking about 500 milligrams. That's a type of OxyContin here in Canada. And then I started to try an experimental drug, which started to affect my liver and kidneys, and got me a little bit more active again, but it was nowhere way back the way I was back in my early days. And then a couple of years ago I saw a Dr. Oz special on medical marijuana, and Montel Williams was on it, and he has MS and he uses it for severe pain, and I was always one of these people who poo-pooed marijuana. I never tried it in high school. I thought it was like one of those things, or the evils of marijuana, and I thought after watching the show I should really try it for the pain, and even Dr. Oz suggested people for pain take it, and he endorsed it, in fact, on the show. And it took me a while to find a doctor here in Canada that would, in Toronto even, that would prescribe medical marijuana, which I managed to, and he sent me to what's called a compassionate clinic. A compassionate clinic is something in Canada here that kind of works in the gray area of the government. It helps people with pain and diseases, but kind of works under the, kind of not without the government's official okay, shall we say. So I managed to try medical marijuana, and within, the next day, my pain started to subside. I was able to sleep. And I started to wean myself off of heavy-duty drugs like morphine by increasing the marijuana dosage. And now I've got my quality of life back. I'm able to go walking with my wife. I can dress myself. I can do things that I wasn't able to do even before I had this disease. So I'm coming to you to ask for your help, essentially. Canada just changed the laws, and now a doctor can prescribe cannabis as a form of medicine for their pain, for their disease, when they've tried everything else. So they're legalizing grow-ops here in Canada. They're all going to be governed under the watchful eye of Health Canada, and all the security will be done by essentially the RCMP here in Canada. So I'm asking your help to start one of these grow-ops. and help these people that are sick. When I go to a cannabis dispensary, the type of people that come in there with every type of disease, children with brain issues, and adults with multiple sclerosis, and people with cancer. I mean, it's incredible to see this. So what we see is a niche here in Canada, a niche market for growing medical grade cannabis, and I'm again asking for your help to do that. The preceding PowerPoint presentation will explain the whole operation and the funding needed to do that, and hopefully we'll see you and hear from you soon. Thank you.
Just a few decades ago, marijuana was a legitimate medication, also called cannabis, prescribed by doctors and dispensed by pharmacists. That all changed in 1930. For Harry J. Anslinger, the U.S. Commissioner for the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, public enemy number one was, you guessed it, marijuana. Harry Anslinger saw how he could increase the budget of his department. His mission? To go after marijuana by using news reports to spread lies and propaganda to the public at large. And then came the movie Reefer Madness, portraying the users of marijuana as unproductive and crazed. Marijuana then became illegal in 1937. This has created a fear-based mentality and has defined our attitudes towards marijuana for over 80 years. By 1970, it was classified as a Schedule I controlled substance. The government was then saying that it had no medicinal value and had a high potential for abuse. Cannabis, which has 3 strains, indica, sativa, and ruderalis, is the oldest known medicine in the history of recorded time. Ancient records dating back to over 5,000 years ago tell us that it was prescribed and used as a medicine. The profit-driven pharmaceutical industry had cannabis permanently removed from the United States pharmacopoeia, thus ensuring that naturopathic medicine was replaced by chemical medicine. In the US and Canada, medicine is a for-profit industry. Profit won out over nature. Statistically, since 1937, death from disease of all kinds have risen year upon year since cannabis has been outlawed. Big Pharma is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and by 2014, the global market for pharmaceuticals is expected to reach $1.1 trillion. They have a pill for every conceivable ailment. Yet more and more people still become sick, and many die from all kinds of toxic prescription drug overdoses each year. Medical marijuana is incredibly non-toxic. There has never been a death attributed to consuming it. It can be smoked or inhaled by way of a vaporizer, or eaten in edible forms such as cookies or brownies, or used as a tincture taken under the tongue. These products have been proven to help you sleep better, help you keep your food down, especially for cancer patients receiving chemotherapy treatments, and definitely helpful for people with pain relief. After a 12-year worldwide study was completed, the results were published in 1994 in the Journal of Clinical Oncology that chemotherapy does not work 97% of the time. So why is it still being used? Doctors receive a direct monetary cut from Big Pharma when prescribing chemotherapy drugs. Everyday people are diagnosed with life-threatening diseases. Chemo, radiation, and cocktails of drugs are prescribed, but with very little success. The medical establishment concedes defeat. Many are sent home and told, prepare to die. You don't have to go home and die. There is another way, a natural, non-toxic way to heal and alleviate suffering for ourselves and those we love. If you have or know someone who has cancer, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, epilepsy, diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, Crohn's, HIV, chronic pain, migraines, glaucoma, or any other disease, then keep watching. It could save your life or that of your loved ones. From cradle to grave, we have been deceived about the healing properties of this plant. We have been fed lies and propaganda. Any misconceptions about cannabis will be changed forever. The time is now. The latest Canadian census data shows a looming wave of Canadians approaching retirement. Among the working age group, a record 42.4% were between 45 and 64. In 2014, there will be an estimated 5 million out of a population of 33.5 million Canadians that will become seniors. This number will steadily rise to a whopping 78 million in the next 50 years. With many conditions from arthritis to Parkinson's, there will be a steadily increasing need for medical marijuana to cope with these age-related illnesses. Currently, in Canada, there are 36,000 registered users of medical marijuana with Health Canada. In the next 3 to 4 years, it is predicted that this number will increase to well over 450,000. With the new laws that have recently taken effect, Health Canada will no longer allow people who need medical marijuana to grow their own. Instead, they have now opened the door to a free market where commercial producers can grow it en masse for patients who need it. By 2014, licensed commercial growers will have to produce over 1 million grams per day of medical-grade marijuana just to keep up with the growing demand. In the past, patients had to fill out a Health Canada document requesting the use of marijuana, then try to get their doctor to sign it. Once they received their card, they would then take their prescription to a compassionate club to be filled. Unfortunately, there are very few of these located across the province, making it very difficult for patients to acquire the medicine they so desperately need. The new changes by Health Canada will require doctors to write a prescription for medical marijuana. Patients would then submit their physician's document directly to a licensed commercial producer. Their prescription will then be processed, packaged, and securely shipped from our facility directly to their home by way of Canada Post. Revenues from growing medical marijuana are expected to hit $1.3 billion in Canada over the next few years. Our goal is to construct a 14,000 square foot concrete building with a 10,000 square foot growing area. An area of approximately 4,000 square feet will house a sprouting area, an office and security room, a reinforced concrete safe to store the finished product, a shipping area, washrooms, staff room, and storage area for soil and fertilizers. Growing several varieties of medical marijuana using the latest LED lighting technology, we hope to produce 4 bumper crops each year, becoming the best producer in the province of Ontario. Our greenhouse will grow 1,500 to 2,000 plants per planting. Each plant will produce approximately 12 to 24 ounces of medicinal-grade marijuana per harvest. There are 4 harvests in each 12-month cycle. The current price is $10 per gram. 28 grams in 1 ounce equals $280 per ounce. 16 ounces in 1 pound equal $4,480. 12 to 24 ounces yield per plant equals $3,360 to $6,720. 1,500 plants equals $5,040,000 to $10,080,000 per harvest. 4 harvests per year equal $20,160,000 to $40,320,000. Health Canada and Canada's RCMP have set out strict guidelines which have to be followed in order to acquire and retain your grow license. Security will take up about 1/4 of the total cost of construction. Our greenhouse and property will have 24-hour security and surveillance in place. Security guards will be locked in a solid concrete office, viewing a board of monitors connected to over 20 cameras in and around the building. The main entrance door and fire doors will be constructed of bulletproof solid steel which can only be opened by a security guard from the inside or by the use of a biometric lock. The property will be surrounded by 2 layers of 10-foot-high fencing topped with razor wire. A copy of the building plans will be available to potential investors. Projected project cost, $6 million. The entrance area, which can only be accessed either by a security guard or a biometric reader, is surrounded by 8 inches of solid concrete, including the ceiling with a solid steel door. The security lock is a control area surrounded by concrete containing a second steel door, separating it from the main part of the building. This acts as a deterrent if the front door is breached. There are 6 such areas in the building. The security room is a self-contained unit. Security staff will be locked in this room watching a wall of monitors connected to cameras that surround the site. Since this area is a self-contained unit, it is outfitted with its own bathroom and, of course, a complete kitchen. Located here is the management office. The doorway is outfitted with a biometric lock. The safe is constructed of 10-inch steel reinforced concrete floors, walls, and ceiling. It contains a 3-inch steel keyed and biometric lock door. This is used to store our stock of medical-grade cannabis in vacuum-sealed bags in locked metal cabinets. The security cage is a section of tempered chain link which goes from ceiling to floor. It's the first line of defense for the safe. The office and shipping area are used to package and ship medical cannabis to patients across Canada. The planting and cloning room is our starter area. This is where the plants are seeded and our best sellers cloned in multiple copies. The staff area contains the employee lounge, lunchroom, and kitchen. There are 2 employee bathrooms, one for female and one for male staff. The garage area is the main storage area for the pallets of soil, fertilizer, pots, and other planting material, as well as our forklift. The second security lock separates the garage from the grow area. This prevents unauthorized access to the main building when receiving supplies through the open garage. The main growing area of the building measures 125 feet by 80 feet. There are 3 emergency fire exits, all of which have security locks which are to deter break-ins. The doors will automatically open once the fire alarm is pulled. Plants will be laid out in 6 8-foot by 125-foot long rows. This way plant care can be done from either side. The latest LED grow light technology will be mounted above each row, which will produce 4 bumper crops each year. 20 feet out and surrounding the building is a 10-foot-high fence topped off with razor wire, similar to prisons. Wired into the fence is a motion detector which will pick up movement if someone tampers with or tries to climb the fence. On the ground surrounding the building between it and the fence is a layer of coarse, broken shards of concrete, making it virtually impossible to run on. The entrance to the building and the garage are secured by sliding gates topped with razor wire. Both gates can only be opened by security staff inside the building. For extra security in front of the building, there will be a row of 8-inch balusters placed every 4 feet, standing 3 feet high. This will prevent anyone from attempting to drive into the building. On each corner of the building is a series of HD cameras on remote control, which will have a clear view of each side of the building. On the main wall of each side of the building are infrared cameras which will pick up the body heat of anything moving around the building. Every gate, all exterior doors, parking lot, and the road in front of the building will be under the watchful eye of our security staff. Be one of the first venture capitalists to fund and support this groundbreaking project.
Thank you for watching the presentation. My goal is to have a medical grade cannabis farm growing and producing by the spring of 2014, and producing medical grade cannabis for patients in the Greater Toronto area. At this point, it will be the only producing grow operation in the Toronto area, helping patients, literally thousands of patients with their ailments. So thank you again for taking the time, and I hope you help me out with my endeavor. Thank you.